A lot of this, obviously, I found out after the fact. But the question was, why? Why did a bunch of aliens fly halfway across the galaxy to whack a 10-year-old boy? It was because my father was, and is, Spartax royalty. I was the next in line for the throne. Today on the Comic Book Report, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Avengers. Stick around and check it out. Greetings from the galaxy, everyone. My name is Dominic, and you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And wow, was this an unexpectedly great pickup. This is the first Guardians of the Galaxy collection from Brian Michael Bendis. I had never read Guardians of the Galaxy before, and wow, this really blew me away. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to today's review. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The issues in this collection were written by Brian Michael Bendis and penciled by Steve McNiven and Sarah Pichelli. The issues collected were first published by Marvel Comics beginning in 2013. The volume itself collects Guardians of the Galaxy, the 0.1 issue, as well as issues 1 through 3, and Guardians of the Galaxy Tomorrow's Avengers number 1. This standard size hardcover comes in at 144 pages. At this time, I'd like to issue a brief spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the entirety of the collection today, as well as commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. Okay, and here's our first look at that collection today. As I mentioned previously, this is a standard size hardcover, and it has glossy pages. Right from the jump, we get a good sense of the art you can expect from this collection on the cover itself. The design of the book is pretty nice. The hardcover itself has kind of an interesting feeling material. I wouldn't say it's soft on the hardcover, but maybe. These hardcover editions were fairly common during the Marvel Now era, which this is a part of. There's even some cues for AR, which I think is an augmented reality experience you get using the Marvel app. I haven't really messed with that. I'm here just for the comic itself, so maybe you guys know a little bit more about what that's about. But thought that was an interesting feature for this edition. And of course, a general reminder, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free to do so. I'd love to see you more around these parts. And now back to today's volume. Okay, the series starts here with a 0.1 issue, and wow, this might have peaked for me for this run so far. I actually think that this first 0.1 issue is my favorite in this collection. This is the origin story. This is 30 years ago, how Peter Quill was made, i.e. how his father met his mother and their romance and the whole story there. It's dramatic, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, and wow, I was glued from the very first page. This is a spectacular issue. As I admitted at the beginning, this is actually my first Guardians of the Galaxy comic ever, so I cannot say how this fits in the broader context of this title and this title's history throughout the ages. Literally everything I know about Guardians of the Galaxy pretty much came from the MCU movies with Chris Pratt, which I greatly enjoyed. That being said, the origin here is quite a bit different, as is the collection that follows, all those issues, but it was still very recognizable having seen the MCU movies, and I really loved to see the comics version or comic twist on a lot of the stories that I saw on the big screen, or at least some of these characters. Basically, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, his father is a alien royalty, and Peter Quill is by that bloodline considered a noble or royal potential, but he really doesn't like his dad because his dad inadvertently is responsible for his mom's death and kind of ruining his life. So right away, this series has a kind of space opera-like nature to it, which lends to some really great storytelling. The series proper that starts with issue 1 has these ragtag group of heroes, the Guardians of the Galaxy, which at the time has Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Drax the Destroyer, and Gamora. I do love in the comics that Drax is also green. I guess they didn't want that redundancy on the big screen with Gamora also being green, but it's fun to see in the comics. The last addition to this team we see in the volume is Tony Stark's Iron Man, which honestly was one of my favorite wrinkles in this team and in the storyline. It's very fun to see Iron Man as a fish out of water. We have him being top dog on Earth technologically, just a giant brain, one of the leading scientists and men of the world, now confronted with the fact that he's almost remedial when you look at the galactic scale. He's the big fish that was in a small pond who's now in a whole ocean looking around. Rocket's like doing laps around him technologically, and he feels kind of insignificant with the scope of the kind of adventures that the Guardians of the Galaxy have. I do think that this kind of puts Tony Stark on his butt a little bit, and it's very fun to see because some of that confidence and that arrogance is a little bit humbled in some ways, which led to some great character arcs and storytelling even within this volume 1, and I just love to see it being a fan of the Iron Man character for all these years. As far as the artwork goes throughout the volume, I'd say it's very consistent, even as it alternates between McNiven and Pacelli's work, both of which are very strong, very well crafted, great detailing work, and even the colors are very fun. There's a lot of purple and reds. It lends this kind of dreamy space kind of feel to it, and just really well done. It sells the story, it feels very consistent and in line with the storytelling itself, and just a fun experience. I should say, I actually came across this collection, because this is, again, my first Guardians of the Galaxy book. It came across it because I won an eBay lot a few months ago. I actually did a video on it, and it was full of a miscellaneous mix and match of collections, and it included this Volume 1 and Volume 2 of this series, and I thought, shoot, I got this whole lot, I might as well read it, and I was really blown away by this volume. After the character origins and the setup of the team, we have the Guardians immediately get into conflict. They're fighting kind of interstellar battles here, and they're essentially framed by Peter Quill's dad or some kind of clandestine group of alien creatures, and they kind of get blackballed. And it's, anyway, very tense, lots of good battles in this, and just some high-flying space antics and adventure. I think tonally it's a little less comedic as its MCU counterpart, but it's absolutely recognizable, as I said. For fans of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I think you do very well to pick this up. Even as your first Guardians book, like myself, it's very friendly to new readers, and you feel like you can just jump into this high-flying adventure through space. Now I'd like to take a minute to talk about the author of this book, Brian Michael Bendis. I consider him a legend. I know he can be kind of a polarizing comic book writer as far as being a little hit and miss with some of his titles, but I'll say, for me, he hits more than he misses, and when he hits hard in ways that turn these things into absolute classics on my bookshelf. I'm talking Daredevil, I'm talking Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm even talking about the work he did on Avengers. I really love Brian Michael Bendis, and I think that this is another hit out of the park. That being said, I don't know if this is a hit for people that already were Guardians of the Galaxy fans. I don't know if he took too many liberties, or maybe this isn't what the title usually is. I don't have that context myself, but for a brand new reader, it was absolutely accessible and a rip-roaring good time with some strong storytelling, character moments, and a lot of just entertaining action and fun. This was a hit for Bendis for me. Maybe not, obviously, at the quality of like an Ultimate Spider-Man or Daredevil, but still a very fun read. For someone that's looking for more Bendis in their life, I definitely think that this is one that could stand out. And now it's time to give it a grade. For those gorgeous McNiven pencils with strong grounded character work from Bendis and a low barrier entry that makes this really accessible to new readers, The Comic Book Report gives Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Avengers Volume 1 a B+. Frankly, this was a treat, and it had me eager to read more. It's very fun characters and fast-paced storytelling. There was never a dull moment, and I'm exceedingly happy to have it on my bookcase. Have you read Guardians of the Galaxy? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching The Comic Book Report. Don't forget to hit that like button or check out another video on your way out. Until next time, have a good one.